What is up, folks? We are back, and I wish it was with better news for you all. But of course, we are going to talk about what happened over in Istanbul against Galatasaray. We'll try to figure out what on earth has happened with Arne Slot and the tactics this season, or quite frankly, what we're trying to do. We'll have a little look ahead to the Chelsea game and a few other bits and pieces. But as always, delighted to be joined by Mr. Chris Stonage. Chris, how are we?
Yeah, good to be back, guys. I'm feeling good. Maybe not particularly about our performances, shall we say, but apart from that, feeling wonderful and happy to be back amongst you lot.
Is that a Japan shirt you're rocking, or which one is it?
This is a Kashima Antlers 1995 original that I picked up in a charity shop. It is wonderful.
Oh, I do love it. I've got some belters over the years and some charity shops as well, Chris. You're doing well.
Yeah,
someone in your inner Macklemore there, Chris. I love it.
Cost me 60 quid. I looked up the valuation. It's probably like 350, 400, so can't complain.
You know what I got in a charity shop once? The 1992 centenary shirt with the separate badge and all. I picked it up for like a tenner or something. I couldn't believe my luck.
Amazing.
I'd like to say I kept it, but somebody in Poland now owns it. I did sell it on eBay. Conor, how are you doing after last night? I mean, you and I had a quick chat after the game, but I'm sure you're as annoyed as the rest of us.
It was just horrendous, wasn't it? Like, it's definitely one of the worst performances under Slot. Like, what was it, the second game in his whole tenure we didn't score a goal? It was just horrendous. Like, I think it was just so many people were bad on the pitch. It's hard to even single out people. It was just terrible all around. So hopefully not as bad moving forward. That was just a painful watch last night.
So, gents, I wanted to kind of go holistic with the start of this and ask you, Chris, should we be worried yet? It's 2 losses in a row, but I would say it's been 8 inconsistent performances. And when we sat here last week, Steve said that he'd like to see improvement, a 30-minute phase, a 45-minute phase, an hour of us playing well. We didn't see that last night, mate, and people are starting to press the panic button a little bit. How are you feeling about it?
I'm not panicking, but I think there is reasons to be worried. As you said, like, realistically, throughout the whole of this season, we've not really strung more than half an hour together. And that's been enough because we're still good enough at a level to be able to play for a while for only half an hour and still win matches. Maybe even sometimes even play well for only 10 minutes and still win matches. But yeah, last night and Palace, the 2 performances are just like, they're really quite concerning because it was the level of creation as well that I thought, and the way that we were on the ball was, yeah, it was risky. It was risky. We could have conceded maybe 5, 6, 7 in the first half against Palace. And not too dissimilar in the first half last night. So yeah, it's cause to be worried. I'm not panicking because I feel like we can get back on track very, very quickly. But yeah, it was concerning last night.
And for yourself, Conor, I mean, you and I talk daily about life, Liverpool, everything else, and that is now 2 losses in a row, mate. And we'd had clamours for a couple of players to be dropped. I mean, people wanted Konate, Wirtz, Salah, and a few others maybe rotated, rested, benched, whatever the phrase you like to use is. And we've seen Arne make a brave call last night, put Mohamed Salah on the bench. Fair to say it wasn't exactly a glowing success.
No, it didn't really make much difference in the end, did it? Which is like, I'm sure we'll talk about more in depth, but I think it is just a system thing at this point. I think we've seen enough evidence that it must just be, like, it can't just be individual errors and stuff when every single player is playing badly. Like last night, like I said, Salah was taken out. There was no difference in the front. And with people calling for Wirtz to be dropped now, or people talking for everyone to be dropped, it's just, yeah, it's hard to figure out what's going wrong, but something definitely just not right at the minute. It's like, I think Chris sums up well. It's not time to panic, but it's definitely time to worry.
So after the game, Chris, I'm always intrigued to hear what our manager and our captain and anybody who conducts an interview with the media after the game. And I've got to say, for the first time, I'm starting to hear a tad bit of delusion from Arne and what I'm hearing. He said that first half was okay. Second half, he said first half we were good. Second half, we were a bit flat. As you pointed out, right, mate, if that was us being good in Arne's eyes in the first half, we were conceding 4, 5 good goal scoring opportunities at that and creating maybe 2 at the other end. So I don't know what game he was watching, mate, but I didn't see any great football or a good 45 out there.
No, well, from our perspective, probably not. Maybe from his perspective, it's the patterns that maybe look. There was, let's not be too twisted here. There was some nice patterns, but like patterns don't win leagues. Patterns don't win titles. Like they are only foundations of it. And there was a couple, but we looked so leaky. Like one pass between Konate and Szoboszlai just it threaded Yilmaz through every single time. That's where the penalty came from, whether you thought it's a penalty or not. And I'm sure we'll speak about that. But like that's where their chances were coming from all the time. That can't be good, can it?
No, it can't. And there's a few things I want to move on as we go through. But to give you the exact quote, Conor, that Arne said after the game last night was, again, disappointed because you lose. Football is about winning. This was a different performance on the ball and off the ball to last Saturday. First half, we played quite well. Would you agree?
No, I wouldn't agree with that. Like, if passing the ball around the back line is considered good play, then yes, we were absolutely excellent last night. I think just every single pass, every single run, every single touch, everything just seemed to be off. Like, it's like the players have absolutely zero confidence in what they're doing. It's like we can pass it along the back, but the second the ball moves any further forward, we just don't know what to do. And I think Arne saying we played well it's worrying. Like, it's like, if he thinks that's good football, then what are we in for? Like,
One question that keeps coming up over and over and over again in any streams that I do or any interactions I have in Discord with people is that nobody seems to know the style of football that we're trying to play. So last year, Chris, we had rightly heard our manager praise Luis Enrique and that Paris Saint-Germain team. You see us then go out into the market and bring in two very pacey, aggressive fullbacks that you're thinking, okay, here we go. They're going to be high up the pitch. We're going to be penning teams in. We're going to be pressing like monsters from the front. And we're centre-backs are basically just going to be mopping up the long balls that people have cleared. And we're going to start the relentless pressure again and again. I don't know what the hell he's trying to do. And I'm not trying to be undermining of Arne Slot. Sincerely, Chris, as a fan, as somebody who's been around football 36, 37 years, I don't see an identity in the way Arne wants this team to play currently.
No. And I think that part of that comes from having so many new players. I think that is a thing. But what really worries me is the fullbacks, because we've got, obviously he's played really well there, but we have two fullbacks, right backs fit, and he still picks Szoboszlai. So I don't know whether that's a shoehorn or whether that's just to try and get him in the team. I'm not too sure, but if we've got two right backs fit, he shouldn't be playing there. And at left back, Kerkez, we saw last season at Bournemouth, this bombing, absolutely like all action fullback, and he's being used as a centre back in build up. Like that for me is a complete waste of his talents. I don't even think he's actually that good on the ball at all. Like he's good. He's a good crosser of the ball, but in comparison to all of the rest of the players, he's not, a player you'd be wanting intricate play from. He's a bit like Robertson in that regard. So that's the thing that really worries me. And yeah, in terms of identity, I think it will come throughout the season, but it's difficult to find a sort of blueprint there, isn't it?
It is. And I think people are fair to be confused because we don't see, he keeps talking about the passing around, but it doesn't seem to be leading to anything. And Conor, Chris touched on the right hand side there, and it is a very valid point. It's almost like he's trying to reinvent another Trent. So we went out into the market. We knew that Conor Bradley was going to be there. He signed a new contract at the end of last season, which was with the headline that the belief is there in him from the club and from the manager. Then we bring in Jeremy Frimpong, and we've seen an experiment last night with him taking over Mohamed Salah's position as maybe a precursor to what was a potential solution for the AFCON. I think it's fair to say that one failed miserably. And at right back, I agree with Chris. It's an experiment that would be understandable if we hadn't just gone out there and brought in a £30 million right back who was fit. So, what we're maybe trying to gain in one area, we're definitely taken away from in another area. And that's where we're seeing with Dominic Szoboszlai. So that right-hand side, to me, we don't seem to have the relationships built there in the same way, perhaps, Conor, we had for Trent and Mohamed Salah as an example. Their understanding of each other.
Yeah, I was just about to make that comparison with Salah and Trent. Like, that probably is one of the reasons why Salah's struggling this season too. It's just all these new relationships around him. Like, we've seen him speaking as well about the forward players. Like, he used to know where the likes of Darwin and Diogo would be. So it's all just like Chris said as well, like the new players settling in. It's going to take time in the system. But yeah, on the right back thing, like Szoboszlai he's done a good job at right back, to be fair, for the most part. He was fairly poor last night, but it's just it's mayhem when you have a £30 million right back coming in, along with Conor Bradley, who we've heard all last year was going to be good enough to step up, and then neither of them are playing there. Like, it's a massive loss then to have Szoboszlai out of that midfield, like, especially if he's going to be further forward doing a lot of that pressing up front, which we've lost this season. Like, I think that's part of why we haven't really been it's part of why we're conceding chances as well, to be fair. If we're not pressing up the pitch more than they're getting at it. So I think Szoboszlai's a big loss there. And like we said, yeah, it's just Frimpong on the right wing as well just didn't look that good. It was one or two moments, but if that's what we're looking at for the AFCON period, I think that's slightly worrying as well.
I think it's very worrying, and I was always confused at how highly rated everybody was at the Frimpong signing. To me, I felt like it was a bit of a taking a punt signing on a player who no doubt had done really well with Bayer Leverkusen, but in a very particular system that got the most out of him. And as of yet, Chris, I've not really seen him settle into the way that we play. But there is a point I would like to make. Normally, when we play a game and we don't play well, there's a scapegoat. Fans, me, other people, all jump on to say it was Konate, it was Salah, it was Wirtz. But I'd like to say to you, mate, right now, it's a collective failure that we're not playing well. And that starts from the manager all the way right down to the team. So I don't want us to sit here, and we will talk about individual performances, but I want to make it really clear what I see. It is a systematic failure at the minute, and it is a failure from 1 to 11, not just one player.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's not going to get you views, Craig. I thought you were better than this. But no, this is...
Don't worry. There'll be one sentence that I'll put completely out of context. Conor will set up and we draw them in with it. Don't you worry about that.
We're going to bait Chris into saying something stupid.
Yeah. I tell you what, right? You're absolutely spot on with that one, because there's so many different things that you could suggest that might happen next week. You might throw Chiesa in for 90 minutes. You might play Frimpong right back and Szoboszlai midfield, and it might not work. And then you'd be like, oh, fucking hell, we're running out of solutions. As you say, these players are not like shit players. These are world-class players, and they will click. I just think at the moment, I don't know whether it's instruction. I don't know whether it's their relationships together, but it's just not working like clockwork at the moment. The good thing is, and I will say it is a good thing, we have picked up a lot of points on the way. If you'd have offered the start, I would have taken this start that we've had at the start of the season, because I still think Arsenal are incredibly strong, and I think we're going to be really competitive with them. However, as you say, when you're in the middle of it, you think, fucking hell, we really, really need to improve. And I think we will. I do genuinely think we will.
I think context is important as well. To say, on the face of it, we'd have taken 6 league wins from 7 and 1 win in the Champions League out of 2. It wouldn't be the end of the world. But I do think context is important. Yeah. And I believe, Conor, this is only the second time under Slot we've lost back-to-back games. And what worries me here, though, again, I keep going back to it, is we talk about the new players coming in and has there been too many changes? Is it going to take a while for these players to gel together? My argument would be, if Arne truly feels that way, then minimise the new players that we're using for the minute and start going back to the players that he does feel understands the system. Let's talk about Wirtz for a second. What is the best course of action here to do? Because everybody would agree that we aren't seeing the Florian Wirtz that we had signed and that we know he's capable of being. You got to caveat that by saying people are also being too impatient because he's a new player, new league, new environment. But I would argue, Conor, that in these type of moments, the best thing to do for Wirtz is to take him out of the firing line, stick him on the bench, and bring him into games when people are perhaps mentally and physically tiring, and he can build up the confidence from there. That's what I would argue. But what do you think should be done with Florian Wirtz at this moment? Keep playing him until he hits form, or take him out of the firing line for a little bit?
It is a strange one, because if you do start not starting him, is that taking him out of the firing line? Would the media just pile on even more if he is dropped, let's say, for the next 2 or 3 games? It's kind of, I understand, I fully agree with what you're saying in terms of that's how he should have been introduced originally. I think he shouldn't have really started from the very start, in all honesty. We have seen glimmers of what he can do, but it's not really, I don't know, I think the system as well is kind of letting him down. I feel like if we had 2 really defensive midfielders behind him, he'd have a bit more freedom to do stuff, but I think he's just, the whole midfield isn't functioning, so it's hard to blame it just on him. He hasn't been good enough, obviously, so far. He's, like I said, a few glimmers, but yeah, I think I probably wouldn't start him against Chelsea the weekend anyway. After that, I'm not really sure, but I think for the weekend, I'd probably go back to the original 3 from last season.
So what's confusing me about all of the knitting in process, Chris, is we've rightly praised the likes of Richard Hughes for going and getting the right manager on Arne Slot, doing all their analytical and data research to show the similarities between him and Jurgen Klopp and the playing style. So it wouldn't be huge upheaval. You would have to assume that when they're looking for players to bring in, the same process would apply. Now, from what we've seen so far, obviously We can talk about Isak as an outlier because he's playing catching up fitness and, he hasn't had too much time with the team. But it doesn't look to me like Arne knows how to utilize the players he's brought in and connect them to the way that we play in the rest of the team. Yes, there will be a process of them getting to know each other, but it doesn't feel like he knows where he wants to use these new players he's brought in.
It is almost a case of trying to find a hole for the peg to fit into. Florian Wirtz, I think, he is well worth wedging into your team somewhere because he is that good. But as you say, we don't quite know where that is yet and where he fits in. Is he a deeper midfielder? Is he in a false nine position to allow Ekitike and Salah to run in behind, something like that? I personally think that would be worth a try if you get Wirtz in a sort of more advanced position and then play off to Salah, Ekitike or Gakpo, whatever. But as you say, these players are world-class. They are young and we're trying to sort of fit them all in, especially in attacking positions. I understand what you're saying, but I just think that there will come a point where it clicks. I don't know how long we can afford to wait before that happens, if you get me.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make, Conor, to Chris is we heard when Wirtz was being signed that he was going to be the 10, that Arne had spoken to him, sat down, told him this was the role he was going to fulfill. And then I looked at a heat map of where he's played so far for us versus his positioning at Leverkusen. At Leverkusen, it was central and left, a little bit deeper than the edge of the 18-yard box. With us, he's all over the place. He's on the right, he's on the left, he's through the centre. We've seen him then moved out to the left wing, like last night again. He had 10-minute spell there, I think, before Rio came on in another game. Arne just needs to understand how to use him and keep him in that position, in my opinion. Moving him around constantly, I don't think is going to help it unless it's a tactical thing in a game. But where do you think we should be utilising Florian Wirtz in the way Arne sets up?
Like you said, yeah, he was brought in as a specialist number 10. He has to be there. And like you said, if left and his central positions are where he operates best for Bayer Leverkusen, we need to be making sure he's in those positions. But I think it could be a case as well of, let's say Ekitike is in front of him. He tends to kind of drift back a little and a bit out to the left. I wonder, is it just the two of them kind of clashing in the same positions as in it could just be a case of he's just struggling to actually find positions to go in. Like, it could literally be that, like, with the new players, he's trying to figure out where to go as well. Like, it's a hard one to figure out, but yeah, definitely should be playing central rather than left wing.
So when I see Ekitike play, Chris, like Conor said, I often see him dropping deep to pick up the ball, which in theory should create some space in behind if a centre-back's drawn out with him. But we seen a huge difference when Isak came on last night because it looked like our players didn't know what on earth to do to get him involved in the game. I was shocked when Conor sent me a message to say he had 4 touches in 33, 34 minutes, something like that on the pitch. That's shocking, mate, when we're looking to get back into a game.
Exactly. Yeah. I think one of those was a shot, right, as well. So like that's like, even in 4 touches, he's getting a shot away. But yeah, that is like really poor. When you've got a big lad like that, like towards the end of a game, you should be trying to find him at all costs. He should be your target man. He should be someone who's finding runs in behind, but there was no one supplying him with the ball. Like it was just I think the word to describe last night and even on Saturday, the word's disjointed. No one is together at the moment in terms of their mindset and their wavelength. It's not quite there. 4 touches, man. I mean, I think, on the sideline, some of the subs might have had more touches than Isak in the entire game. So, yeah, I feel...
And that was Chris us trying to get back into the game, throwing the kitchen sink at it, and that was the amount of touches we could get our number 9.
Yeah. I would get it if we were parking the bus and we were, sitting back and defending a lead, but not potentially, trying to find a goal out of nowhere. It's a very, very odd one.
One thing that almost made me spit out laughing last night until I actually realised it could be true, Conor, was somebody brought up the Darwin situation. And they said, okay, Darwin couldn't finish as well as we'd have liked him to, but he occupied defenders and he dragged people out of position and he created opportunities and created chaos. And it's one thing I have to say, for all the things we have not ridiculed, but called Darwin out for, that was one thing we did get from him, is he did create space, moments, and chaos. And I want a bit more chaos in our play in general.
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't go as far as say you want Darwin back, but definitely he did offer something a little bit different like that. Like especially if you brought him in the last 20 minutes of a game, he always caused chaos, drag defenders out of the way. It was just like I think Ekitike is kind of more that profile rather than Isak. Like Isak seems very much like he wants the ball played to his feet in like running past the defenders rather than Ekitike kind of dropping deep as well, kind of get the ball more. And but like it's just like 4 touches in what, like 25, 30 minutes. Like it's just outrageous. Like I can't believe, like I couldn't believe that happened to see it after the game. Like it was just absolutely insane. Like we're spending 130 million pounds on a striker to go into a system where we can't even get the ball to him. Like it is just madness.
And that's what has me confused, Chris. So we've got 2 very different types of centre forwards with very different types of movement, and we seemingly know how to play with Ekitike to a certain extent, but we seem to have no clue in the brief time we've seen Isak on there. How on earth are we going to figure out a way to get these 2 gentlemen involved? Or is it going to have to be a case of the 2 of them play, one of them drifts to the left, and then we find a way to start playing balls into Isak on the shoulders of defenders rather than just trying to get them to win headers or put in vague crosses? We need to be finding a way to get Isak on the shoulder of the last defender, because that's where he does his damage.
Exactly. What I will say is I do think that's difficult when you see when a team playing two banks of 4. Like it's pretty hard to do to get a player running off the shoulder. But that's where Isak comes in his versatility. You know, he can play in many different ways. You know, he can play on that last shoulder, but can also, you know, drop deep. He can, you know, pick up the ball, turn and shoot, swivel, everything you want. You just want to get him on the ball. I think that is. I don't want to provide an overly simple solution to the problem, but give him the ball. Like it will make a huge difference for him. I think we saw against Southampton, like almost immediately we got him on the ball and he nearly scored. That run against Palace where like he basically ran through the whole team. It was literally just give the fella the ball and he will create something. I think that might just be the simple solution for now.
One gripe I have with Arna Conor is a few people in the watch along last night were saying, can you imagine if we had Diaz now? This team's missing Diaz. And I totally got what they were saying. You know, that directness, that running at defenders. And that's where I have a gripe with Rio Ingamoa's inclusion in the first team squad this season, because if Diaz was on the bench, he'd have been on that pitch last night. He'd have came onto the pitch. And if we are looking at Rio Ingamoa as somebody for the here and now, why aren't we seeing him in these type of moments where that's probably exactly what we needed last night? Somebody to get the ball down. And look, you may not set up a goal scoring opportunity, but you may win yourself a penalty. You may win a free kick on the edge of the box. You may get a fullback on a yellow card that means they have to be more cautious as the game goes on. So many things from what we get told from the club and the manager versus what we see in real time confuse me.
Yeah, I suppose it's the kind of thing like he wants to ease him in, obviously. But like you said, if he's sitting there on the bench and you need a tricky winger, like there is no one else on that bench who gives you that. Like you need that kind of person who's going to just make the dart and run to the end line and get across, going to win a penalty perhaps. Maybe just if you have a tricky player like that, you're going to pull a little bit of focus from the defence out to that side as well, maybe create some space for someone else. But like you said, he just doesn't seem to be getting a look in as much as he should be, really. And again, I can understand it from the point of view that he's young, but then you shouldn't be giving him that role in the squad if you're not going to trust him with it. So yeah, I think he should be getting more minutes. But yeah, I think like I said, Diaz would have been perfect last night, but Ingamoa obviously not getting the chance as Arna doesn't trust him yet. So
that's where my gripe is, Chris, because I've no problem with Rio Ingamoa needing time. I think all of us common sense would say a youngster like that, you know, needs to be put in gradually bit by bit. We've seen it with Raheem Sterling in the past when he was coming through. But we're also told he's one of the 6 forward options. And hence the reason why we're a little bit concerned, because Chiesa, well, look, I don't know what's going on there, to be honest. And if you've got Rio as well, who the manager doesn't feel is really right there for the here and now, well, then we're limiting ourselves to 4. And we've got an even bigger problem because then we can't rotate or we don't have as much impact coming from the bench. So these guys are either ready for the here and now or they aren't. And the halfway house stuff, it winds me up a little bit.
Yeah. I sort of disagree that I think Diaz was a brilliant player, but bear in mind, like, he wanted to leave for about a year and a half.
He did 100%.
So I wouldn't blame the club for selling him, because I think we got a really good deal from Bayern Munich, and I think that.
I think the point people were making we're missing that's what we're missing,
player,
somebody to do that.
100%. because that's not Gakpo and that's not Wirtz. They're two very, very different players to that, and I understand that. On Rio, as you said, common sense prevails overall in these situations. But when you're 1-0 down, like we saw against Newcastle, we threw him on because why the hell not? And he went on and scored the winner. These moments happen because you throw special players into them, and it creates that perfect storm. Now, I just think that maybe in that situation, I don't know whether he would have made that much of a difference because I don't feel like we were actually getting the ball out wide enough anyway. I just feel like there weren't many patterns that created that for Rio. But I'm personally, I would take the caution element with him. But if we're being told that he is going to be one of the sixth forwards, then for me it's conflicting messages, isn't it? I'd be more cautious.
And the final thing I wanted to just touch on from the game, gents, before we start to look ahead to Chelsea is the man in the middle, Mr. Turpin, who should have been called Dick Turpin instead of his actual name, because that was shocking. I mean, look, it always sounds bad when you're moaning about a referee after you've lost a game of football. I'm not saying the referee was the reason that we lost. Our poor performance was the reason that we lost. But referee 3 times stopping a game when we're in possession in the opposite half of the pitch on the attack because Victor Osimhen had a fly land on his sock or something and goes to the ground again. Not a head injury. So if it's a head injury, we all understand. Sometimes, yes, players do play up the head injury things tactically. But if it's a head injury, you understand. It wasn't Conor. It was just a referee. Do you know what, mate? He couldn't even get the kickoff right. And not once, both halves. The kickoff had to be restarted. And he seemingly just forgot the rules of football. At one point, we had Curtis Jones who got his nose burst open and Konate who was injured. We had a free kick and yet we were down to 9 men. There was just so many things about that last night that felt like something happened. The ref waited to hear what the Galatasaray fans thought and then decided what was happening on the pitch. It blew my mind that was a Champions League caliber referee, Conor.
I'm just glad to hear you're over it. Like it's not playing on the mind.
Do you know what happened? I spent 2 weeks praising referees, and now this is what happens.
Yeah,
that's karma now. That's karma for doing that. Yeah, he was just ridiculous. Like it was obviously like a lot of fouls were fouls, but yeah, every single like 50-50 just went their way, didn't it? And like you said, like those instances of blowing up when Osimhen was down on the ground, like it was just. I don't even know what he was doing. Like, fair enough as well. He got the penalty decision right in the end. Like, we shouldn't have got the penalty, but all around it was just an absolutely terrible display, which is it's unusual because usually these European games tend to get better referees, and we're just like, why can't we have them in England? But yeah, last night just so bad, so bad.
And did you hear Gundogan, Chris, say that one of the Liverpool players went up to him and said, "Is it always this atmospheric here?" And kind of shocked at what they were walking into. I mean, it's Turkish football, mate. Turkish football fans are pretty boisterous, loud, and get behind their team. So there should be no surprises. We've seen Timo Werner in the past had to try and play with earplugs as well and be taken off because he couldn't deal with it. To find out that maybe that was a surprise to one of our players really baffled me.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally, it's all you see on these sort of Facebook, football, Twitter banter pages things. It's like how amazing the Turkish fans are. But what amazed me was the fact that they did not relent all night. Like, it was mental. Like, how they have any...
said they may have been playing noise through speakers, boos and stuff.
Really?
I don't know if it's true,
I heard
but
someone
I've
in
seen
the
it
stadium said that. Yeah, they said they had like tinnitus today from the speakers more so than the fans. Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, that would make more sense because it was absolutely ludicrous how loud those boos were, and also. I don't want any like Turkish fans like sending me abuse or anything, but why are we playing a lion's roar after you score, lads? That is the most...
Craig's going to Turkey next week. Don't say anything bad.
Yes, I would like to state that I am a big fan of the Turkish people, the Turkish government, especially the Turkish border police. I think they do a magnificent job. The food's great, country's great. I love Turkey.
It is amazing.
Stonage.
However, lion's roar, what a load of bollocks. Like, we can't be having that. Like, that's ridiculous. I mean, that is just. When I heard it, I nearly sort of fell out of my chair. It was ridiculous. But
you know what's bad? Mourinho was given out about Galatasaray when he was in Turkey as well, saying that they got everything, that they got every decision from referees, that everything was set up. So I don't know. As I said, I love Turkey, so I won't have.
He's going to come back with a full skin fade.
Wonderful country, great people, fantastic dentistry, and yeah, I won't have a word said against them. So how dare you, Chris? How dare you, sir? Hang your head in shame. You better hope the World Snooker Tour is not rocking up to Istanbul.
I love Turkey, just not the Lion Roars. That's ridiculous.
So I want to move on to Ibrahim Konate, gentlemen. And a report last night from L'Equipe suggested that Liverpool and him were close. They said that there was a couple of contract rejections. A new offer went in 2 weeks ago. And what kind of went into my mind, Conor, thinking about this from Konate is, you know, Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, when they were trying to renew their deals with the club, were in the form of their lives. And they almost made it impossible for the club to not get to the number that they wanted. With Ibrahim Konate, mate, it's going to be a pretty different situation right now, because I'm not going to sit here and say I wouldn't be happy if Konate re-signed. I absolutely would. But nobody will convince me that this situation hasn't gotten into his head and it hasn't led to some of these poor performances. So where are you at with the Konate situation? If he signs a new deal, will you be happy, or do you think it could have been a blessing in disguise if we let him leave on a free?
No, I think it wouldn't be a blessing in disguise to leave him to let him go. I think, like, obviously he's better than what we've seen this season. Like, he's been a good player for the last couple of years, but I reckon Florentino Perez must have just been watching this season. It was actually like, nah, you're all right, lad, you stay there, and now Konate has to sign a new deal. Because, like, this looked dead and buried a few weeks ago. This looked like it was absolutely zero chance of him staying. So I was shocked to see that last night, just to see that. Like, whether it's true or not is another thing, but it's coming out of France. It's probably a little bit more reliable than the Spanish publication. So I think if he does sign, hopefully that is the end of his bad form. Maybe he settles down again and can just focus on playing football. But yeah, I wouldn't be pushing him out the door by any means. I think I would rather him stay overall, especially if it's not like ridiculous money.
And before I come to you for your opinion, Chris, I just want to wholeheartedly thank you for giving me that out of context quote now that will be used to bait people in to watch the video. Chris hates Turkey and Turkish football fans. You've done it for me, Chris. Thank you. So now, sir, before you're hounded into hiding on social media, do tell us about your take on Konate.
Do you watch that game last night? He was absolutely horrendous. Like terrible. Like me and my mates were sat on here, and I was just like, this guy, like, cannot string a single pass together. A bit like I can't string a single word together. Like, that is, it was so bad.
It's
and if
fear,
you were...
Chris. You know the Turks are coming for you. It's weird.
The thing is, if you're Real Madrid now, you're probably like, why on earth do we want this bloke? So if he signs, like, look, and he can get back to his peak form, brilliant. But where's he been for all season? He's been terrible. And also, the one thing I want to say about him, he gets so many opportunities from corners. Like, I think probably the last 5 games, he's had like a free header from a corner. Nothing has come even close. Like, it's mad.
He headed 3 yards wide from 3 yards out last night.
Yeah. There was no noise in the stadium, was there? It just sort of like went silent. He just sort of stood there like that. It's like, well, come on, pal. Like, it's a free header, like, right there. Score. Like, Van Dijk scores that every day. I
know, that's the one thing I'm praying for, is why isn't any of these set pieces going to Virgil's head? Because they're going in if Virgil's in those positions. It just feels like for Konate, everything is just building up at the minute. It must be difficult reading social media posts and hearing, fans question whether he wants to be here or not. And I just hope the whole thing is finished, signed off and sealed, so we can just get back to saying right now it's just a form thing with Konate. We don't have to worry about where his mind is or whether he's, get sizing himself up. Did you see Duolingo, gents?
Yeah.
Seen that, yeah.
So people don't know what we're talking about. There was somebody on X last night saying that basically that they need to check if Konate has a Duolingo account, how far along is it. And Duolingo posted to say Ibrahim Konate is a member of our Spanish Diamond League. So not helping the cause, I think it's fair to say, Conor.
No, good banter though. Duolingo are always good for that kind of stuff. So now that we're bigging up Duolingo, this video is sponsored. No, it's not sponsored by Duolingo.
We dream. It's the dream.
Yeah, you can learn Turkish in 1 week.
Yeah, good banter from them, in fairness. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he actually is on Duolingo or not.
Imagine I printed the account, posted the account, and all it was actually him. That would be interesting. But at least he's gone for the diamond account, whatever the hell that is. I assume it's a higher level one, but yeah, there we go. So a little look ahead then, gentlemen, to the game against Chelsea coming up, which Could be the right time to play them here, Chris, because they have their own headaches at the minute. They're getting red cards left, right, and centre. They're running out of forwards. I know João Pedro's not suspended for the league game, but he is going to miss the next Champions League outing. They've had some fixtures and results some results that their fans haven't been happy with, and there's actually question marks over Maresca. So are we getting them at the right time? And could this be the one, mate, that maybe gives us that good few endorphins before the international break?
Fingers crossed, mate. But our record at Stamford Bridge is pretty poor. Like, I don't think we've won there since Thiago's debut. If I'm not mistaken,
5 seasons since we won there. Yeah.
So that was like, I mean, the last time we won there in front of fans was probably when Firmino scored, like 2019, something like that. Like that is ridiculous. Like we as a title winning team in one of those years and finishing second twice, we just couldn't win there. So I remember last year, obviously we were pissed when we went to Chelsea, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, I hope we can do it. I don't rate Maresca, if I'm being honest with you. I never really have. It just seems I was really shocked when they won the Club World Cup, to be honest, but I don't think many people put so much effort into that than they did. But yeah, I hope we can win. But I'm with our form at the moment, there's no guarantees, is there?
You just know that somewhere Todd Bowley was there talking about the money in that dressing room. We better win this Club World Cup, mate. I want the money. I want the money that comes along with it. And look, they're already seeing the downside of it, Conor. They've picked up injuries, and Cole Palmer's out of this game as well at the weekend. So surely, if we are to go to Stamford Bridge at a good time to get them, it has to be right now, because we need to prove something. They probably need to prove something, but I would die on the hill that our best day beats their best day if we both show up.
Yeah, I'd agree, especially with their injuries and everything as well. But who could have predicted this? Who could have thought adding another tournament that makes all the players miss preseason in the summer is a bad idea? Who would have thought that? Like, it's just
Darmay Sheth thought it was great. Remember, he thought it was absolutely fine. Yeah, no injuries are out and it's going great. So Chelsea are getting on great, Darmay, aren't they? Oh, excuse me, it wasn't Darmay Sheth. It was the other gentleman.
Yeah.
Apologies, Darmay.
He probably said it.
Great case, Darmay.
But yeah, like it's such an important game. Like we were saying it earlier off camera, it was just like, if we win this game, the complexion of the next few weeks is going to be so different than if we lose. Like if we win, we're like, right, we got to win. Back to the clean slate now after the international break. We go again. If we lose this, can you imagine the meltdown for the next 2 weeks? Like 3 games in a row if we lose. Arsenal top of the league going into this international break. We can't let that happen. We have to win.
I'll be locked in the bathroom in the hotel in Turkey and I won't be coming out for 2 weeks. If we somehow end up behind Arsenal in the league, Chris, before we play against Manchester United straight after, it simply is just a must. I'm not even going to say a draw will do, mate. It's a must-win game on Saturday for me,
and it's a must play well. I think that's also a big thing. I just think like we haven't really seen a great team performance all season. If we can go there and we can click for an hour, I think we can romp them, to be honest. I think defensively we can walk all over them. Danny Welbeck did. So I have no qualms the fact that, you know, Alexander Isak, Mo Salah, Chiesa, whoever's playing, Gakpo can walk all over that defence. It's just whether we get everything right beforehand. And if we play well, like, I don't see any team beating us. But the fact is we haven't played well all season. So if it all clicks, then I've got no doubt we'll win.
So before I let you guys go, 2 questions for each of you, and we'll start with you, Conor. Do you reckon there's a chance that he plays Gomez instead of Konate? And also, give me a score prediction.
I reckon there's always a chance of that, to be fair, especially with the amount of minutes Konate's played. Gomez wasn't great the last game, to be fair, so it's hard to know whether it's the right decision or not. Score prediction, I'm going to go 3-1 win. Going to have to be confident in this one. I'm going to say 3-1.
I love the 5:30 kickoff, Chris, on a Saturday. Give people plenty of time to go out afterwards if they want to, after enjoying the footy. So same question for you. Will we see Joe Gomez? Will he ring the changes again like he did with Mohamed Salah, getting a break? And a score prediction, sir?
I think we're going to go full strength. So I think Ibu will play. And if he can play well, then that'll be a really, really big asset for us. I also think we'll go Salah. It'll be Salah, Gakpo, and Isak up top, and we'll win. We'll win 3-1. I'm going to go with Conor as well. I'm going to go the same 3-1. I think we'll go 1-0 down because we always love to go 1-0 down, and then score 3 in the second half because we are second half merchants.
Well, I'm not going to give a score prediction because I want people to watch the preview, so I'm going to just hang off on that one. Anthony Taylor is the referee in charge of this one, by the way, for anybody wondering. And also, I can't believe we forgot to talk about this, but we hope for good news with the Alisson Becker front with the injury as well. Last night at the end, it looked like Ekitike was talking to say he feels it was just cramp for him rather than an injury. Yeah, fingers crossed on that one. But certainly for Alisson Becker,
blame Konate for that shit. Fucking hell, rubbish pass, wasn't it?
It was, but somebody said to me he was injured before that, but I still don't believe that was the case. I think
even Narna said that. He said he felt it as he was running back. I think it was that Konate incident.
I think it was as well, and we do hope that Ali's back soon because he's been saving us so many times and still, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper in the world. But Big Georgie's there, so we'll wait and see what happens. Gents, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for watching and listening as well. Of course, we'd love to know your thoughts on Chris's hatred of Turkey and the Turkish people. And
no hatred of Turkish people, just the roaring lion.
We'll overlay Chris's address here if everyone wants to go. To
yeah, and Chris, by the way, to my friends in Turkey, still spells it Turkey. I'm not. I'm fully on board with the Turkiye. I'm with you. I love Turkey, love the people.
I can't wait for you to come back with a brilliant hairline, Craig. It's going to be incredible.
If ever there was anything, mate, it would be the teeth and a beard transplant. That'd be the one because I can't grow a beard. And
you could go full Tim Howard.
I could do, yeah. I'd like to. You never know. Did you see the picture of Arna, by the way? Somebody put up after coming back from Turkey, the full head of hair and the teeth. So yes, look, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, as always. And any dental tips that you can give me when I'm over there or anything, feel free to let me know in the comments. We'll see you soon. Much love. Bye bye.